everybody. You're listening to the IndieMO Radio Show. This is Donnie, and in the co-host seat, once again, is the E-Man.
The E-Man. I'm back. I had a couple of weeks off, or a week off. I busted my hand. And
a couple 2 weeks vacation. Yeah, you were sunning it up on the beach.
I went to Silver Dollar City.
Oh, okay. It's a little bit different than the beach.
Yeah.
Well, that music you are hearing is the awesome tunes of somebody that you all may know very well. It's DJP. He's in the studio with us today.
What up? What up?
We're just chilling, man.
Yeah.
Chilling like a villain.
On Penicillin. Thanks for coming in.
I seen. I got your new DVD.
Yeah, Beats and Toiling.
Yeah. And that is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, who's that kid that's in that with you?
That is Miles Collins. That would be Larry Collins, DJ Platinum's youngest son. Only son, actually. So, yeah. That's his son, and he was perfect.
Yeah.
He did such a great job with it.
It's a great, me and Carla picked it up the other day over there at CD Warehouse, and, I was like, man, I gotta see this, and
So what's the name of the DVD?
It's called
Beats and Toyland.
Beats and Toyland.
And I made it to where, children could, see it and hear it, because most hip-hop and stuff like that, there's a lot of cussing, and so for once I wanted to do something that was positive, where I could just say, hey, you can actually hand this to your kids, and they can watch it,
Yeah, you just enjoy the music.
It's just like my Michael Jackson CD that I did called Michael and Me. Same thing. Hey, your kids can hear this, and you don't have to worry about F-bombs. And
So it's a kid-friendly, family-friendly stuff there.
That's cool, and that's available over at Stick It, you said?
CD Warehouse.
CD Warehouse?
Yeah, they have it. I think there's only 2 left of that DVD, the Beats and Toyland. I think it's good. I got actually ordered some more of those, So kids seem to love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm loving this right here.
Yeah, Papa and Pump. Close like Starsky and Hutch. Stick to clutch. Yeah, I squeeze 3 at your cherry M3. Bang every MC easily.
Take that.
Recently, frontin' ain't saying nothing, so I just speak my piece. Keep my peace.
Yeah, that's
with the Jesus
iHeartRadio mix that you're listening to. It's I did a 2-hour mix for iHeartRadio back in 2012 when I won the TV show Master of the Mix, which was on BET, and that's what this is. And so.
Do you have that as a CD, or is that just something you can download?
It's not actually. There's, it's only iHeartRadio has it, and I have it in my computer. And I just happen to find it. I was like, I'll just give it this. So
great.
Yeah. So I think right here is where I do my classic Phil Collins mix over it. Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of information about some shows going on this week. First off, we probably need to do a recap of the shows we saw this week. You went out to something really cool this weekend.
The Blue Cow Underground. Cheryl and Russ have this great place. It's out in Mount Vernon, middle of nowhere, and they don't like coming into town, apparently, and they just they invite bands out. They usually do it once or twice a year. During the summer, there's usually a Halloween kind of show, and we played at one last year for May 4th. May the 4th be with you.
Oh, yeah.
Know? And
I think that's free comic
there was a bunch of, let's see, who were all the bands that were there last night? Let's see if I can remember. A Heroes Formula, Fraught with Peril. They were the first band that played, and they were really good. Acoustic. Of course, your friends, Mood Ring Circus.
Yeah.
And they do an awesome cover of 9 Inch Nails. Had like a hole, and we were all outside just going, man, that's killer. And then, of course, Curmudgeon played, and Snake Boot showed up, and then Seed ended the show, and they are great, and they're getting ready to go on a tour in another week or so. So I'm going to do some shirts for them, hopefully this week, and we'll call them and get some of their music on and really push their thing.
Are they tour shirts or just the?
Yeah, we're going to make a tour shirt, that says, it has they've got that logo that looks like some old person's eyes.
Yeah.
And then on the back we're going to put all the dates of all their shows that they're going to be playing here the next month or so, and so I was like, people love shirts like that,
Absolutely.
And I think they're doing Oklahoma and Texas, and it's not just, a lot of times, we can do Kansas City and maybe Columbia or something, but they're really going to different states and stuff, so it's really a cool thing, when you get together with those kind of young bands that have got this motivation and they can actually get out there and do it, and they can hook up with some other bands and take them along with them eventually,
Yeah, it's like networking on the road.
Yeah. But we had a really good time. It's a great place. Look it up and make friends with them on Facebook.
So nothing crazy happened?
Nothing crazy happened.
Oh, that's good.
No.
Always like a good show where nothing crazy goes on.
Nothing really crazy.
It's like the opposite of the shows everybody else
likes. There was
likes.
a very large bonfire.
Oh, yeah? That's cool.
A very large bonfire. And
I'm a fan of the bonfires.
And so we took pictures around it and stuff. And the funny thing was there's an old water pump spigot that's right there by the fire. Uh-huh. And I'm like going, I'm going to put this fire out. But it's scalding hot. You can see it was glowing red. I was like,
oh, that's awesome.
Hot
like
water's coming out of
water.
there. Yeah, we're making hot water heater. That's what this is.
Yeah, it's for coffee.
Yeah.
Or like tea.
And there was fireworks across the street. The neighbors across the way were shooting off fireworks. And so all night long we had fireworks and metal music and frivolity, and it was just a great time.
Sounds pretty cool.
So, thanks to them,
I went to a show this week at Lindbergh's. It was the Vultures of Chaos County. Have you ever seen them before? The Vultures of Chaos County?
No, but I've heard of them.
No, they're one of those bands. They're really good, but they have a theme song. They made their own theme song, so it was like the first one in their set list. You know, they're like singing like, "We're the Vultures of Chaos County." It was pretty cool.
We need a theme song. That's
we
what
do
we've been
need a
working
theme
on.
song.
We had P doing some beatbox earlier, so we might have to work that into it. Yeah.
Maybe
you
I'll
saved
find
that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. It got saved. Most of it got saved. Yeah.
It's even funner when you can hear yourself doing it in your headphones.
Yeah.
It's like wow, I'm hearing it.
You're
just doing it in the room. You're feeling that bass. Coming out.
You're like when you're wearing the cans, you're in there.
That's awesome. You can just do that the whole time if you want. You just.
Actually, we'll ask you a question and you'll beatbox the answer.
In 7th grade, I had probably enough energy to do that.
Yeah. It's like, in what year did Theodore Roosevelt sign the documents? And then he's just over there, Danny, what's your answer?
Yeah. I was the kid actually that had the Walkman.
Oh, yeah?
Like in my jean jacket pocket on the inside, and then I was running the one headphone just up the sleeve into the palm of my hand, and just resting my head in the palm of my hand.
And what would you be listening to?
And I'd be listening to some Schoolie D. I don't know if you ever heard of Schoolie D. That's some old school hip hop. Or I'd be listening to some Run DMC or Steady B. Mm-hmm. And while the English teacher or the social studies teacher's up there talking, and I'm just kind of like, I'm hearing her in the right, and then in the left, I'm hearing the beats.
Mm-hmm.
So
you grew up around here, right?
Yeah. I went to school at Pipkin Junior. Well, junior high and high school was Pipkin and Central High School.
Yeah?
So yeah.
My brother and sister went to Central. I went to Hillcrest.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And
you were like Kickapoo, yeah.
Oh, you snob.
We got a whole bunch of rivalries, and they're both against him.
Yeah.
It's funny because back in the day, I took band class. I played drums in the band, and our band teacher would go, "Who's got the best band?" And over half of us would go, "Kickapoo." She just piss her off something awful. I don't want to ever hear that again. It was true though. Kickapoo had a better band than we did.
Hey, did you see my Parkview High School vinyl? It's Parkview High School band.
Oh,
on vinyl.
Wait, I didn't see that because those are the ones I like to find where they're doing like covers of funk and soul groups. But I've yet to find that.
Probably
13-year-old kids.
I've yet to find a cover like that yet on a local band here. But it's funny you said that because I've got a old funk and soul record. It's actually a jazz record that was recorded at an Illinois high school. And this thing it's got a song on there. The side 2, last song, or actually side 1, the last song. It's called "Love for Rent," and it's by an artist called Don Ellis. But the version that's on that high school record blows away the original, and it is funky as hell.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I found it. I dig for records like that. I like to find rare stuff I don't even know what it is. And the cover was weird. And the record's called "Kids Are Beautiful," or no, "Kids Are Pretty People." That's the name of it. And I was like, "What is this weird record?" So I needle dropped it in the record store at this vintage place in Arkansas. And the last track, I'm like, on side 1, I'm like, oh my God, this thing is on fire. The drums, everything. And so, of course, I had to buy it for 50 cents or $1 or whatever.
Yeah.
And now I've been trying to find other copies of it. I've been trying to find the composer, the guy that recorded it, because it's a 70s record.
Yeah, everybody's dead.
You can't find those records because they never came out on a major label either. These high schools put out maybe, 100 copies or 200 copies, and then that's it. But that's what makes them so expensive when you got heads like me. You're looking for rare, like funk.
Have you ever dealt with anybody that does their own vinyl, that cuts the vinyl? I mean, are those machines any cheaper now? Or?
Those machines are high dollar now because they're so in demand.
Yeah.
A matter of fact, I am trying to press a record right now, and it's going to be for a double vinyl, one vinyl, 500 copies. Mm-hmm. So it would be, technically you're pressing 1,000 records and getting 1,000 sleeves because it's a gatefold. So each record has two records in it, over $7,000. And that's for 500
That's for
records now.
500.
Yeah, because they got to cut the lacquers. Vinyl's so expensive to have made. You can get 1,000 CDs for $1,000.
Yeah.
Like $1 a CD, but now it's like $7-8 a record when you're getting into it. Yeah, and right now
Your
I'm
profit
actually,
margin's like this big.
yeah, I'm pressing my Hell on Wheels 2 on vinyl. That's my plan,
that'd
is
be
to have it
great.
out by this
Halloween.
October. Yeah. And but yeah, record pressing plants. No, they're so backed up now. As a matter of fact,
probably it,
National Audio here in Springfield is talking about trying to get record pressing.
That would
stuff.
be amazing.
Yeah.
That would be
Two
great.
record
That would
presses
put us back on the map again, I think.
They're trying to find. They're trying to find them,
Find it,
and and they even told me that other record pressing plants told them, "Hey, we'll give you work because we can't take all this work. So if you can get the presses,
machines
we'll
and-
give you the work. We got this company that needs this done. And I couldn't even believe RTI Records is who did my last record. I pressed a vinyl with them back when I lived in Vegas, probably in 2007, and it took they basically told me that there's no way they could press my record 2 years ago because they were so backed up with work. And now, luckily, they hit me up the other day and go, yeah, we can do it, but we need your artwork like in 3 days.
Yeah.
Gary
Right.
Bedell, thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks to
Fantastic.
Gary Bedell.
Gary's a good guy.
Yeah, Gary's the man.
Knock it out.
So yeah, that's
That's
what
good.
I'm doing.
Yeah, because I know those 3D printers. I mean, those are like people are getting those all the time. I keep seeing these guys going, "Oh, look, I'm going to spend like $2,000-3,000 on a 3D printer, and then I'm going to get a $3,000 drone, and I'm going to deliver Hummel figurines that I just press a button and it makes it out of resin." And
If anybody out there knows where a record press is, even if it's not working, call
yeah.
National Audio.
Yeah,
they will
need
buy
one.
it.
yeah, they'll buy it.
So I might buy it.
You know,
It'd be great to have a record press.
man, there's some place in like Europe somewhere. I think it's in some country that you wouldn't normally think. I need to look it up. I have it written down, but they do those flimsies. You know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
yeah.
They're
like the ones on the
roll-up,
back
like
of
they're-
a
like a cereal box.
It's the
Yeah,
one that
cereal
used to be
box
on the
one,
back. Yeah, the cereal box. I've got a Count Chocoo one.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I got that one too.
Still
I think
plays too.
you got the blueberry
It sounds
one.
like this. The monster cereals. Count Chocula.
Blueberry.
Yes.
Count Chocula, come to the dark side
There it is.
with your cereal.
And Frankenberry.
And do not mention Frankenberry. Wait, you can. Okay, whatever.
But there was also Yummy Mummy and Fruit Brute, which were
Yes.
both the same, basically. They were both fruit ones, Blueberry, of
What's
course.
Fruit Brute? Is
He was a werewolf.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, I remember that.
Okay.
And you know what's crazy is now you can't even get the monster cereals unless it's October.
Right.
Yeah.
And they come and go so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, like boom.
Last year they had retro boxes.
Yeah.
You see those?
I've got one. I think I paid $10 for that.
God.
Off the internet. I wanted it so bad just to have the cereal. I ate the cereal out of it. Of course, I didn't throw the box away. I wanted it for the box so I could
Yeah.
display it in my kitchen, and it's still there right now. So, but yeah, I think that's the most I ever. That is the most I ever paid for a box of cereal. Can you remember the last time you paid $10 for a box of
No,
cereal?
never.
You probably never will. Either.
I won't. Yeah. If it was like had a lot of fiber in it or something. It,
Yeah.
made me regular for a week.
Yeah. You're not supposed to eat the box.
Oh,
Is
so
this your water or my water? Have I been
my
drinking
water's on
your
the
water?
floor.
Oh,
My water's
okay.
on the
Oh,
floor.
you guys have been drinking after each other. I'm glad I'm over here
Yep.
in the corner.
Yeah, you got some water right there. I only drank out of it once.
Yeah. Actually, it's not even been open. So I
No,
don't
it's
believe-
just crack that seal on that thing. And
I'm also having Hoppin' Mad
yeah, those Hoppin' Mad Angry Orchards.
Angry Orchards.
It's good stuff. I can't. I end up talking about this on every show. I can't eat wheat.
Yeah.
So I'm stuck to ciders, and I had some beer the other day, the Red Bridge. Have you had that?
No.
It's made with sorghum molasses. You know what I'm talking about, Danny? Have you had that yet?
Did you say you can't eat right? Is
I
that-
can't eat wheat.
Oh, can't eat wheat.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Okay.
it messes me up. It's like a samurai sword to my insides. So
Man, that's horrible.
yeah, it's pretty bad. But
gluten or whatever.
I'm not supposed to eat sugar.
oh yeah,
I've gotten away with it as I've gotten older, but yeah, back when I was like 15, man, my whole body just freaked out.
Really?
I stopped drinking, and of course at 15, who's to say I was drinking, but I was, sneaking drinking, and I smoked a little weed here and there.
But,
yeah, after at 15, it was
alcohol
like
is a lot of
I
sugar,
completely
yeah.
cut it out. Yeah.
That's all I do is I eat candy and drink alcohol
that's pretty much my diet too, and beef jerky.
and beef jerky.
And I eat beef jerky. I work at the beef jerky outlet.
Okay.
You also
Or
have popcorn and hot sauces.
Popcorn, yeah, popcorn, hot sauces, some exotic fruits.
Exotic fruits. Do you have that Durant fruit?
No, we don't.
You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
We have dried kiwi. Durant, is that the one that smells like a butt or something? Like, what is it supposed to be smelling like?
It's not supposed to. It just does.
Yeah, that's the only thing Andrew Zimmern won't eat, I think.
It's the king of all fruits. And I'm like going, yeah, king shit.
King Toad. Well, didn't you guys used to have some kind of that pirate station?
Pirate
The
Radio.
Gorilla.
The Gorilla.
87.9.
Yep, 87.
KLFU. Keep looking for us.
Wow.
And they did.
KLFU.
Yes, they
That's
did.
awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of a crazy. It's actually a long story. Yeah. There was a guy in Springfield who's I won't give his last name. Tom was his name, and he had a pirate radio station in his house over there on the corner of Kimbrough and Grand. And
The house is gone now.
yeah, they leveled that house.
So
in his
you know what happens if you go against the FCC? They level.
Yeah.
They level your house, yeah.
They wait years and then they come level your house. So mine hasn't been leveled yet. So
Just
wait.
wait.
It won't happen. Yeah, I know, right? So yeah, he was doing that, and they were doing it out of their basement, and it was only like 20 watts, but all it was right there in the SMSU area, so everyone could hear it and enjoy it. And it had issues where it was cutting in and out, but when I found out about it, I was so excited because all I ever wanted to do was be able to get on the radio and like be heard mixing and doing things.
Yeah.
And they gave me my show. These guys were into like Led Zeppelin and all the good, rock. Like
But they
classic
play
rock.
the B-sides and
they played
album
Yeah.
cuts rather than the Stairway to Heaven.
They love-
Yeah, all the stuff. It was
Slow Ride.
the stuff that only the fans really
Yeah,
have heard.
exactly.
They were huge into Grateful Dead and stuff like that. So when I went to them, they go, well, what kind of hip-hop do you want to do? And I'm like, dude, I'm talking old stuff from the 80s. And he's like, that's what we like. So, yeah, we'll let you on our radio station to play. And anyway, long story short, it got busted. And his equipment was acting up at the same time. So I ended up going out on a tour with the band Garbage and Lit on the MTV Campus Invasion Tour. Was like the first big thing I ever got to do.
That's awesome.
And it was like my break. And so when I was out, I made like $10,000 for that month. So I call him and I go, hey, Tom, how much would it cost for me to take over and do what you were doing with the same type of equipment but brand new? And it was around $2,000, I think, to
Yeah.
get everything, the power supplies, the amps that power it,
The coax.
and the transmitter itself. Yeah. Then I had the coax cable was probably the most. It was crazy. That thing was because I had to get it really high, because it had to come out the window of wherever we were going to do it and go way up high. Because the higher your antenna, the more it would
More
reach.
coverage.
Yeah, with coverage. So
Instead of being in a basement.
so we ordered that thing. He ordered it, and I got back from the tour, and he had it there, and we put it in the Landmark building downtown on Olive and Jefferson.
Yeah.
Which was, if you don't know anything about the Landmark building, you could write a book about that
It's
place.
seedy as hell, yeah.
Yeah.
And we were in an office that was right next to where the old the Bear KB whatever it was. There was a radio station there, and their tower was still on there. And basically, we just
I paid a guy $100. This guy we call Mongol, this big old burly redneck guy. I paid him $100 to climb that whole tower and put the J pole on the very top of that tower.
and then ran the coax down the building
and
and
here's
into the
the-
And the
window.
guy did it. I've seen
Yo,
videos
he did
of
it.
people climb towers.
But here's
It's
the
scary.
funny thing. The coax cable, I didn't tell him how long to make it. I said, just make it so long that it's just long enough. Like, make it as long, but like, they guessed how long they were going to make it. And dude, I'm not even kidding you. It came down to the window, went in, and I had to get a milk crate to put the equipment on top so it would reach the equipment.
Oh, wow.
There was no... It was like perfect. Almost just
That's
too
crazy.
short, but
So,
yeah,
like,
it worked out.
1 foot and you would
Yeah,
have been
and
golden.
we fired that thing up at 60 watts. It was higher than the other.
Yeah.
40 more watts than they had before, and you could hear it all over the place. I mean, it was just great. And word is, there was a girl I had hung out with, and at the time I was hanging out with too many girls, but this girl told her mom about it. Her mother got offended because she heard it on the radio. Now, who knows what it said?
Yeah.
And easy.
We
to do
weren't
in
always
Springfield.
on there. And then
Yeah, so she calls the management of Landmark Building, goes, hey, there's a guy named Danny Phillips, and he is doing a pirate radio station out of your building. I'm just letting you know that. So the management comes to me and goes, Danny, and it's a really nice lady
Yeah.
named Peggy, and she comes to me and she goes, Danny, now you're not doing a pirate radio station, are you? And I go, not at all. I said, no, that's for my CB. I've got a CB up there. I'm not doing. She goes, well, I don't want you to get in trouble. I want to. So I lied to her because I did. I was like, but I knew I wasn't going to get in trouble. Well, I could get in trouble. But, I didn't want her to worry.
Yeah.
She was, she wasn't coming to me like, hey, we can't have that in the building. She was just like, I don't want you to get in trouble. And I go, no, I'm not. Well,
I just store my records and stuff in there.
Yeah. So
and CB.
Yeah. So here's what happens. The FCC gets called. They get called and they come to Springfield from Kansas City, and they can't find it. They keep driving around Springfield, and the signal kept sending them in a loop for some reason. Where the signal was going out, they just couldn't pinpoint it.
Yeah,
So
they never brought down the equipment to triangulate, really.
Right. Whatever
they just came and tried to get it. And classically, like the one before, pirate radio stations are around a college.
Yeah.
They're not in a downtown building, on top of an office building, So they were always losing it,
Yeah, they couldn't find it. So they drive back to Kansas City, and it ran 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was traveling, I was touring, I was going to Miami, I was really doing it, and I didn't have a lot of time to deal with it.
Wait, did they? I'm sorry to interrupt. Did they not catch you the first time they come down?
No.
So there were
They
2
gave
times
up.
that they came down.
They gave up, dude, and went back to Kansas City.
Jeez.
They came down one time and couldn't find it, went back, and then for 2.5 years it ran.
Yeah.
And,
wow.
And when I got involved with you, I had just got kicked off of, Z104.1 Rock This.
Rock This. Yeah.
And so it was funny because I was like 2 blocks away from there. They were there on the corner of Walnut and Jefferson. We were just down the street. And the guy he hated me. And so I never said I was the E-Man. I was like DJ Name, because that's E-Man backwards, or I'm DJ Mean, or I would come up with all these different names. On Sunday mornings, I would go in Sunday morning and I made T-shirts and I made stickers, and then Danny would get CDs and I had CDs because I was still doing metal stuff with the radio station, with the record companies. They'd send me boxes of stuff and tickets, and I'd make a little prize package and I'd hide it in the what is that little down the hill? What do they call that? Where they show movies outside.
Founders Park.
Founders Park. I'd hide stuff in Founders Park or over there by Evangel, and I'd say, and this morning we are going to tell you a special gift is there for you to find. And now, and then I would play some song and I would just talk stupid, I said, and I think that, this band is saying this, and Jesus wants you to do this,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd do the news. I would give traffic reports and stuff, and
why aren't you giving me traffic reports?
Yes, we were like, I gave Danny traffic reports to get here.
Yeah, it could have been.
It was a weather traffic report.
It would have been nothing without E-Man. I mean, the dude had experience already. I mean, here I am. Yeah, I'm a jock that spins like vinyl and can cut back and forth and do great things, but as far as personality and knowing how to really move a radio station, he already had. He was already doing it. So he was.
We actually and we were called the Gorilla. I don't know what we call it, the Gorilla, because it was like Gorilla Radio.
I just thought it sounded cool. I like monkeys.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, we're going to call it the Gorilla. As a matter of fact, when I told Tom that, the guy that had the radio station for me, he thought I meant gorilla like in warfare. Yeah. I go, no, man, the monkey.
The gorilla.
The gorilla. Yeah.
So, Carla's tall and blonde. And so, like Fay Ray, and we got a guy in a monkey in a gorilla costume. And we would go places, and they'd walk around and hand out stickers and stuff. And Power Jams had just started.
Yeah.
And there was a Nelly show in town. And so we were just right there at the shrine. And so we run over there, and I'm running around recording people saying, and the people from Power Jams came up to us and said, you guys are the best promoters, man. Your station is so awesome.
We need to do that kind of stuff. That is awesome. That sounds great.
And this kid, correct me if I'm wrong, I never saw this. I was like probably gone out of town or something.
Yeah.
Every time he'd get in a van, you guys would go out in a van and do this. They'd show up at big places and have all this stuff for 87.9.
Yeah.
And this kid did all these backflips and stuff in this monkey suit.
What?
Yeah, he was dressed
He was almost as good a breakdancer as you,
Wow.
I'm sure he was, especially now.
He'd do the worm and stuff, and we're like, oh man, this is massive, And people just came up, and a lot of people knew me.
Yeah.
And so they would hear it and they go, that's your voice, And so the guy that was the head of 104.1 and up there at 106.7, he's like, I know that. And so I knew he was telling people, probably telling the FCC, oh, it's him. But I would always park my car somewhere far away and I'd ride my GoPed.
You're the only person who has one of those. So.
Yeah, it even got to the point where, if you'll remember, the room was full of records. It was full of all my stuff because I was renting that room. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to take everything out of here, and then I'm just going to leave the equipment for the radio station. And then if people want to get on, they can bring their records up. They can bring their own turntables.
Yeah, there was a couple of us that did it. Yeah.
And so I didn't even give anyone a key. Everybody was able to get in the door using a credit card.
Jeez.
Yeah, and that was the other thing. When the FCC, when they finally came, that's another story. But anyway, the way it finally got busted because someone opened their mouth. They didn't mean to do it, but they opened their mouth. And the FCC got contacted, and they said, yes, we know where it is now. Yeah. Now we know where it is. And they came up, and E-Man, go ahead, E-Man, you were there. So E-Man here was on
They were painting the building, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And had they painted the rest of the building before they came, they wouldn't have seen the coax because they would have print. Or had we ran the coax, we were right next door to the elevator. So had we drilled a hole in, but we were too lazy to do that, and it was too dangerous, So But it was the first time I ever had a key to the bathroom. Because I would usually take a 40 up there and drink it and then try to pee in the bottle and take it downstairs and leave it in the parking lot. Hey, bum, here's you some used beer.
It's recycled beer, filtered beer.
But the first time I'm like, oh, man, I'm just doing the show. Because I would get there like after work, so 4:30. And I'd go until about 8 or 9 or something, and then somebody else would come in, or I'd just put it on the constant play.
Yeah.
And so I'm walking out, and the elevator was right next to us, and I'm walking out of the door, and you can hear the music in the hallway as I'm walking out, and I shut the door, and I'm like, I got the key to the bathroom. And I'm walking by, and I see these two guys, men in black, getting off the elevator. I'm like, going, that does not look good, because no one ever came up.
It's like the
there.
Matrix.
Yeah, there was nobody in that building. A landmark building, if you don't understand, that building was the weirdest building in downtown.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, you could just come and go as people. I mean, at the end days, right before, because they just remodeled the whole thing, and it's like there's people living in that building now.
Yeah.
It's really nice. But at the very last days, like, people were bums and stuff were coming up the backs and unlocking windows and coming in. And
there was
like
a stair. There was a fire escape.
Yeah,
out
they
there
were sleeping in fire escapes. It was really sketchy. I ended up getting out of there because I just loved the landmark building because it was a place I could get away. I could do my music. No one knew where I lived. I wasn't being bothered.
I knew a guy who lived in the parking garage there.
You're talking about Mike Bellmeyer.
No, this other guy named George.
Oh, I didn't. Wait a minute. George is the guy that Mike Bellmeyer beat up.
I think that you're right. Yeah, he always rode like
Those
a bicycle, had a weird dog.
Like he had a dog, and he goes, Mike beat me up.
Yeah, that's George.
My name's George, and Mike beat me up.
Mike beat me up.
I'll tell you, and I don't know. Do you know who Mike was? Mike
No,
Bellmeyer?
I don't know Mike.
Yeah, he's no longer with us. He committed suicide.
Oh, man.
Yeah, bad deal.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's funny that you mentioned George, because Mike found the pirate radio station because the guy Richie, who was managing the place, who was, God rest his soul, no longer with us either.
Janitor kind of guy.
He told Mike about it. Mike came upstairs, and I go, "Who's this guy? This standing in the doorway, going, hey, you guys, man, this is cool." I'm like, "Who the fuck are you? This is supposed to be on the DL, And Richie's telling everybody. So the word was out. It was a cool thing, and everybody, wanted to talk about it. But yeah, in the end days, they finally found it, and they came up, and go ahead and finish the story.
Well, they I'm going to the bathroom, and I'm like going, God, I can't crawl out this window, and I'm 3 stories up anyway, so I'm shit out of luck. I'm going to walk out, and they're going to be standing there and want to know what's going on in here.
You should just be like, I don't know, I'm a bum. I just crawled in through the window.
Well, this is community radio. We're just a low-power FM community radio station, and I always had the news wrote down and stuff, and I said, this is a legal pirate radio station. I was like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Well, that's terrible. And they're like, you're going to have to turn it off. And I was like, can I let the song finish first?
It was so crazy. Because he's like, he was even to get on the microphone and tell everybody we've been busted. And they go, nope, don't do that. Just shut it off. I wasn't there, but I get the phone call. It was at 6 o'clock in the evening.
Oh,
I remember like it was yesterday.
It's like drive time.
I even remember where I was. I was driving my car south on Glenstone, and I was right by Nakado's and on Glenstone going south. And he calls me and tells me this, and he goes, well, we just got paid a visit. And I go, oh, shit. And then it all made sense to me because I just gotten a call from the other person who accidentally snitched me, and it was like, yep, they nailed me. So
So what happened exactly?
well,
they just came in and said, turn it off. And
That's
then
all they did?
I think then they contacted you
what
because
they did was,
knew.
correct me if I'm wrong, E-Man, they took pictures of the mail. See, that was in
Right.
all my
Yeah,
mail
that was
was
it.
there, but there was nothing in there that really said anything. It was just there was walls, and that was it.
There was
I mean,
like
there was
a
no-
dry erase board or
Yeah.
chalkboard or something
Yeah,
that had like.
the schedule of DJs that were going to be on.
Oh,
you know,
geez.
and then
But it was nobody's real
they
name, you know.
Oh, okay. It was like
yeah,
fake
all they
news.
cared about was who owned the equipment and who was really running it. And E-Man was smart because he goes,
You're like,
"Well,
George did it."
Nobody owns it. We just come up here. I got in with his
Community.
credit. He tells him, he goes, I just broke in with his credit card. Oh my god! Because it's true.
Nothing
That's
bad
how you-
can come from that. though.
he didn't have a key to the room. He just
Yeah.
picked it with a. He just picked the lock with a credit card. I mean, it's like there was nothing in there anyway. Well, except the equipment. But if you went in to steal it, of course we'd know it because it would be
Yeah.
turned off.
Station would stop. You know.
So, anyway, the FCC they took a picture of the mail. They got my address. They go down, of course. Now they go down to the management.
Yeah.
And they walk in. And I think they waited till the next morning because it was after hours.
Yeah.
And so they went down, and Peggy was there. Of course, now remember, Peggy,
She
2.5
said-
years before,
Yeah.
had warned me.
Please don't do
and
that.
I get a phone call. Danny, this is Peggy. It's like, yeah. I said, I know. She goes, well, you've been paid a visit by the FCC, and they've left their card here for you. You need to come and get it. And I go, I'll be there tomorrow. So I went and got it, or actually that day, and I called them, and I said, hey, I'm the guy you're looking for. That's all I said. They go, is this Danny Phillips? And I go, yep. And he goes, that equipment you have is illegal. I said, okay. I said, I know. He goes, I got to get with, and I already knew from talking to Tom what they do. Mm-hmm. They warn you. And I thought, God, I hope they warn me. And he goes, well, we've got to check and see. I've got to check with my boss and see if we're going to give you a warning or not, or fine you. I said, well, what's the fine? He goes, be $200,000. I said, well, I don't have $200,000. And he goes, well, would you be willing to give us your equipment as a warning? Now, they didn't do that with Tom.
Yeah.
But I did not say no.
Yeah.
I said, sure. I said, but when you say equipment, I said, what is it that you want? He says, all we want is the amp that powers it and the transmitter itself. Mm-hmm. He says those are the two pieces of equipment that are illegal. Is the amp that powers it and the transmitter itself. And we're talking about equipment, guys, that you can fit in a milk crate. The only thing you couldn't fit in the milk crate would be the long coax cable and the actual J-pole. Yeah. I mean, this is stuff. It's this right here. Mm-hmm. It's so small that it's amazing that would power and send out that much of a signal. Wow. But it was so fun to do, and we had a blast doing it.
It was a blast, and so many people, just thought it was so cool, and
And I am not. And I've got to put this out there. There's rumors. There's people that weren't even there that are worried about this whole thing, and they think I owe apologies to people for being mad at people over it getting busted. And I have to clarify that I'm not mad at anybody. It was fun. There was a mistake made. A certain person accidentally opened their mouth and it got busted.
And things like that don't go on forever.
And things don't last.
It was inevitable.
Fun, good memory. It's a snapshot.
I just want, if anyone hears this that matters, I am not mad at anybody. No one at all.
It was just.
I still like the people that I'm talking about, and the people that weren't there that are so bent over it and worried about it, that keep mentioning the person's name to me every time they see me. You don't have to worry about that anymore. It's all love. As a matter of fact, we're going to do another one with 2,000 watts, and we're going to play nothing but polka music.
Oh, that's
so here we go.
All right.
But this time we're going to put it in the back of a van and do the, pump up the volume.
Can I do? I want to be a host of one of the shows, though. I want to be like Lawrence Wilkes, like like Lawrence Wilkes.
Hello, everybody. It's so nice that you're listening.
Some bubbles tonight for you.
We have lots of bubbles, and here's some music from Gary Boldstarg.
Yeah, it's funny though. I waited to send him the equipment.
Yeah,
I remember that now, and I have it. I have the audio of that. He calls me back and he goes, yes, Mr. Phillips, this is something. I think his last name was Renaud or something. Yeah. With the FCC. We still have not received that equipment yet. I thought that was the coolest thing, so I saved that. I had never put it on a mix or anything, but then I finally waited it out, and then I finally sent it to him. But it was, So I ended up sending him the equipment, and that was it. But I just remembered that phone call. I should
And
use
then,
that.
you know, you can apply for a low-power FM station.
Yeah, there's a place here in town.
Springfield Community Radio.
Yeah,
Wait
that's
a
what they
minute,
call
you
it.
can? Like one like we had?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
it only goes 10 miles in each direction.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah, I would too. And I sent these guys emails, and we've been talking back and forth a little bit.
It's gotten a lot easier. When we were doing ours, I looked into it, but there's only a small window that the FCC will allow of when you can apply for it. And at that time, if you weren't Hispanic, pregnant, and something like that, if you were a white heterosexual male, they're not going to give it to you.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, do you realize that was 15 or 6? That was 16 years ago that we did that.
Wow.
It was in '99.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
was a long
was
time ago.
1999 that we were doing it into 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
So it's amazing how fast time has flown by when I think back.
I've always wanted to do I've thought about, with doing all the film work that I do with Britt and Joel, I've always thought, and now since I think they've taken the tower off of the building now, haven't they?
Oh, they have, yeah. That whole building has been redone.
But I've got
It's
some
amazing.
videotape of driving down, past the ballpark and looking up and saying, there's...
Are you serious?
Yeah, I've got videotape.
I need that for the documentary.
Yeah, make a documentary about it, because it's just, it would be good to have out there on YouTube or something like that, because now, since it is happening more and people are allowed to do this somewhat.
This is really weird, though, because this website was completely developed a while back, and it had information on everything, but then I went back to it recently because I remembered what the call letters were.
Yeah.
And I searched for it online. KWPQ. Last time I saw this, they were talking about maybe doing like old 30s horror radio dramas and then blues music and stuff like that. And then I got a hold of him and I was like, hey, I'd like to do an hour show every week. And, I can send you everything pre-recorded and you just play it. And he was like, yeah, that sounds great. We just, he kind of tiptoed around it basically. And then their website went to this, so I'm guessing some things fell through, maybe. Or
yeah, well, like I said, maybe they were applying for a license, and then they might have got denied. Because it's one of those. It's the FCC. It's one of those things where it's like, give us $300, and then we'll do a background check on you, and if you pan out to be what we think you are, and we don't think you're a dissident or something, we'll let you have the license.
I was hoping something would pan out, but yeah, it used to be a whole website. Now it just says Real Community Radio, commercial free.
Maybe it's pirate.
Coming soon.
Yeah, I know they've got Spinny that works over at Midwest Family and does all their engineer. I don't know if he's doing it all the time now, but he's got one in Nixa, Ozark, wherever it is down there. Yeah. In Nixa, I think it is. Ozark.
Maybe I should apply for one here.
And they have that thing where you drive through the lights at Christmas time down there by the Finley River.
Yeah.
You tune into that station and they play Christmas music.
Oh.
And then I think he's even played some, like high school ball games on it or something, because yeah, we did crazy things. There was one time I hooked up a cell phone and went to Cully's, I think, and stuck the phone into the board and tried to stick the phone into the board there and did a live show on a New Year's Eve or something, with some bands playing.
That's pretty cool.
Like, hey, man, you're not doing that.
Was that with the pirate station?
Yeah, with the pirate station, yeah.
Wow.
See, that was the other crazy thing that you could do. You could actually tune the station into another actual radio station. Like, I forgot how that worked, but like somehow we were able to, I don't think you ever did it, but we made it where 96.5 was 87.9. You would still hear, if you tuned into 96.5 in certain places, you'd hear 96.5. But if you were close enough to
the tower,
to the tower, you would be getting 87.9 through 96.5.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I forgot how that worked. It was it was something to do with running it through the receiver and then back through again through the
right.
Through the,
and then
yeah.
you were in.
No, I'm sorry. Here's what it was. We were able to run what 96.5 was playing through 87.9. Basically, we just transmitted the actual tuner. So whatever station we wanted, we just put Sometimes we just run the tuner at 96.5 through 87.9.
So you could play their stuff.
Yeah, if you were listening to 87.9, you'd be listening to 96.5
Cool.
or whatever we put on. We just it was easy. You would just turn on the.
A lot of times we would turn it off at night because that's classically when they try to triangulate you, and things like that. But we'd just turn it off at night, and then somebody'd come in the morning, 7, 8 in the morning, turn on the CD player and it'd cycle through this 65 disc thing, and then somebody'd show up at noon or somebody'd show up at 3 or 4 and then somebody'd come in again. And,
Man, we need to do something like that, but legally.
well, this is, we
That would
can
be
do it like
phenomenal.
this. The podcast is pretty cool.
Yeah, the podcast is cool, but it would be
But
nice to be
actually,
able to just
yeah.
go to
Be
work,
live.
and be a real small station. Even if it was just downtown. I mean, downtown's small enough that a low-power station would probably be amazing there.
That was the other cool thing. There were businesses downtown that would pay to have stuff aired. That's how I was paying for the space.
So you had under-the-table sponsors.
Oh yeah,
That's
Dude,
amazing to me.
Yeah, the bars downtown. If say,
Yeah,
I
Cully's
don't know.
and-
I don't know if Scotty did it or not, but that's just an example. If Scotty wanted a bunch of stuff ran or some bar,
I always talk about the shows
we
and
just
stuff.
make a commercial and air it, and then they'd pay like real cheap for us. To put it on 87.9. But see, that's when things got really, really shady or crazy and hairy because all the other stations had caught on to that, and they were like,
Yeah, and they were
now
like-
they weren't liking it.
Yeah, they did.
Well, they
and
they
you
can
know,
eat one.
We had no commercials. Everything was
Yeah.
nothing was censored.
Yeah.
And yeah, you could be driving to work at 8 o'clock in the morning and hear the F-bomb or shit, fuck, whatever.
This thing's on YouTube, but
Yeah,
It'd be
Hip-hop,
a lot
rock,
better if it
rap,
was on the
metal, and
real
more. It was hip-hop, rock, rap, metal, and more. The
Basically
Gorilla
everything.
87.9
but
KLFU.
it made the rosters. Did you know that? It
Really?
made the rosters as the number one radio station in Springfield.
Are you serious?
And the FCC goes, they're not even on our roster board. But at the same time, we know who they are because we tried to find them 2.5 years ago.
but
It did.
you were popular.
They
should grant you a license then.
all,
I mean,
all the
seriously.
students, everything. Yeah, but
If everybody
we should have
wants
been
it-
grandfathered in. You know?
yeah, that's why that people got pissed.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
And I'm
because
telling you.
when you're infecting, some ratings, from a real radio
I mean,
station.
if you really think about it, I mean, the reality is radio does suck. I
Yes.
mean, you hear the
We've-
same shit.
We've said it many times.
It's corporate, and corporate sucks. Corporate knows nothing. Corporate only knows about wanting to make as much money as they can. It's the artist side of it that makes things really good.
Yeah.
The artist, it's shadowed and it's not allowed. And that's why basically radio sucks. I mean, I don't know about you, but I can't turn on the radio and just keep listening to
we
the
listen
radio.
to talk radio.
Yeah,
There you go.
and then that gets my blood boiling, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Levin.
yeah,
Then you're like Mark Levin.
Yeah.
yeah. We're not even going to talk about that this week. The Supreme Court and all that.
Yeah.
I'm
No.
just gonna-
Congratulations to everybody. But
Yes. I'm sure you're. I am happy for people who are happy for it.
yeah.
That's and I just think the government shouldn't be telling us anything. They should just mind their own business, and keep out of our pockets and out of our bedrooms.
It would be nice.
Yeah. Unless they're really hot. If the government was really hot, then it could, then it could come into.
Yeah. Sarah Palin.
Yeah, Sarah Palin, not Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, do you have a band you want to play? Got
Yeah,
anybody?
we can play a band. You mentioned earlier you saw Mood Ring Circus.
Yeah, they were awesome. Everybody loved them. Do they got merch?
I don't see any merch. You know what we should probably do is make them some.
We'll make some merch. And,
Justin Larkin.
I have some shirts to do us some merch. So
Yeah, we need to make some IndieMO shirts. soon.
IndieMO shirts. So then whenever you're doing the show, like Thursdays usually down at Lindbergh's, we'll have some IndieMO stuff. And
You can get an IndieMO shirt from me at Lindbergh's on Thursdays. I'll have a few different sizes with me. What, $10 a pop?
Yeah,
Sound
yeah,
good?
yeah.
That's fair.
maybe some panties too.
Maybe some panties, yeah.
And I'm working on a design for bandanas, and I really want to make it really cool looking, like a regular bandana, only with records,
and
and
then-
microphones and stuff all around it, And I made those ones for Act a Fool. It has skulls and stuff all around it and that jester head. So I was like, everybody digs that, And,
We do a bunch of records and music notes and microphones and antenna.
and like our face in the middle.
Yeah, we need to have our faces. Man, okay, we're doing that. All right, I'll play Silent Deceiver by Mood Ring Circus, and we can play that. And hopefully it loads good enough. Here we go.
Sounds like you got that mixing in there. Listen, you had bass line over that break beat.
Yeah,
Listen to you over there.
I know. I'm
He ain't
totally.
even got a turntable. He ain't got nothing. He's got the computer. Girl Talk Live. Better than Girl Talk since he's not live.
Wait, Girl Talk isn't alive?
Hell no. I'm seeing his mixes on.
Oh,
They're
okay.
pre-recorded.
Oh.
He just stands at a computer and hits a button and jumps up and down like a fairy. That's what most DJs do now.
I watched a video of I watched a video of you the other day, and
I'm sorry.
No, it was awesome. You did some like almost dubstep style stuff. Is that safe for me to say?
I can. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's some records I have that sound dubstep. The thing is, people don't realize dubstep's like almost 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just it caught on late, like a lot of things do.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I've got records from. I don't know what was it you saw? Do you remember the video?
I don't
Can you
remember
describe?
exactly. I think it was here in town, and you were talking about going to Vegas.
I may have done some dub. If it was recent, I have dubstep records. I mean,
Yeah.
some of that stuff's cool. But I don't.
It sounded like you were doing it live, though.
I was, yeah, because I do it with wax, so I'm mixing live. The needle skips and you'll know it. So
Yeah.
you know. Yeah. But
Yeah, no computers, and you know.
I've seen a lot of DJs like that. They'll just stand there. And,
But I'd rather my.
you know, honestly, sometimes if you're running sound for somebody who just DJs off of an iMac and literally pushes the button and walks away, I feel like I'm doing more work.
Oh, you are.
Sitting there and EQing it and
You are.
trying to get the EQ right throughout the entire performance.
Sound man's doing more than the quote unquote DJ.
Yeah. I was like, that's kind of weird. Yep. But you're 100% real, 100% live. And it's really cool to watch because you'll turn around and you're literally spinning in circles the whole time. You know, you've got one record you put on, you go over there, you get the other thing, you get it all set up.
Yeah, sometimes you have all the time you have a certain amount of time and bars to get to the other record and get it
And
on.
it's like seconds sometimes.
Yeah, you're just moving. You ain't got time to talk. There's no time to get some girl's phone number. There's it's strictly your mind and
No
everything.
selfie time.
Focus. No, focus is on that vinyl and on those turntables at all time. Yeah. It's just the way it is.
It's really cool to watch too.
Thanks.
See if I can find I bet I could find a video on the YouTubes.
So did they ever? Are they doing another Master of the Mix or?
No, that's done. They did three seasons. The last season was on VH1. The first two was on BET, and
BET.
then when VH1 got it, it just, and you could see it was starting to turn more corporate. And I think that at that point they were like, you know what, this is just not what we want to keep moving
Right.
forward with, I guess, for some reason. Then so
Yeah,
they
because
shut it
didn't you
down.
have to be the Stolskis or some kind of mixer?
Well, there was also rumors that Simon Cowell was going to be doing a DJ competition like that, reality competition. Yeah, so I was going to try to jump on that one too. You know, but I still haven't heard anything about that. So it's just up in the air right now. I don't think it's. Oh yeah, that's a video of me at Club Vegas. I think that's probably right after I won Master of the Mix, or that's the party that when I brought Egyptian Lover in, the old electro artist.
Where was this?
In Springfield at Club Vegas on South Campbell.
Danny, I'll play the request for you at the end of the night.
I've got some time. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind playing top 40, but sometimes you just get so burned out playing that shit, being a professional DJ. It's like everybody just wants to hear the same songs all the time. So I want you guys to not only hear, but watch what I do. Because it's actually kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to keep rambling on up here, but it gets really deep on this first hour. And then I'm going to then I'll give you guys a little more top 40 here after the first hour, but here we go.
Yeah, this was the Egyptian Lover show.
Yeah.
Mind you, this is all vinyl records. I found this on a 45 about a week ago, actually about a month ago, down at Stick It in Your Ear. Little Three Stooges record.
Hey fellas, there's a guy here who wants us to make a record. What's that? You know.
This video is called DJP Master of Mixing 6113 Springfield Mo on YouTube. Yeah. And you can actually see him doing it live.
You can make a lot of money that way. So put me on a piece of plastic then.
Yeah, this was after Master of the Mix, so. And the thing is, this art form, turntables and vinyl, people even that do see it, most people still don't get it. They don't understand like what's really going on and how like technical it is.
All they hear is like mashups on the radio, and they don't see what's going into it.
Yeah, I mean like and mashups was a bullshit word made up way later for what we were doing all these years called blending.
Yeah.
And then they came up with if you're hearing a rock song with a jazz song or a hip hop song with a rock song, we're gonna call that a mashup. It was like, what the hell's a mashup? And yeah, DJ started making those, or quote unquote computer nerds were making that on on computers, and then they were pressing it to vinyl, and then so you had DJs playing pre-recorded mixes on vinyl that you could buy, and I was like, no, this is like what I do live, and now this DJ can buy the records pressed, and then when it really went south is when digital took over, and then all these really bad mashups were being made, and people could download them and play them out, and some of the worst.
Yeah, there's all kinds of programs out there that you just
push buttons.
Yeah,
it's all drag and drop.
There's you're not doing the speed. You're not doing that.
You don't have Metallica on the left and Run DMC on the right, and actually blending it live. Like you would be if you were doing vinyl, and people just don't get it. One skip and it's mush. One skip and it's done, and you have to guide the beats. You're basically a drummer on those turntables. You're a guitar player on those turntables because you have to use your pitch control, your volumes, and everything to keep things on cue and on point.
Yeah.
And it's like one mess up. It's like, and then you got the dorky chick that walks up that wants to hear the new Katy Perry, and she doesn't realize what you're even doing. And doesn't even realize how insulting it is that she's even asking for a request. You're up there killing it. And they're asking. They think you're a jukebox.
I just wanted to play the song. I just came out for some Nickelback.
I mean, it's funny, man. We were playing one time down at the High Life, and a girl came up, and we were playing. I think it was Platinum that was playing, and this girl comes up and goes, "Now, that record. She didn't even say record. She just pointed at the turntable. She goes, now what I'm hearing out of the speakers is coming from that." And he goes, "Yeah." She goes, "So wait a minute. What I'm hearing, the music that's playing in here is coming from that." And she's pointing at the turntable. And it's like, yes, that is a record on there, and the needle's on it, and it's playing music. It's almost. I even had a night where I had my stuff completely. I had been playing, and people were there. This girl had seen me playing, and then I was done, and the other DJ took over from the DJ booth. I had the equipment all tore down. I had stuff everywhere. And this girl walks up and stares at this table and looks at me and goes, "Could you play Nelly next?" And I said, "You know what? I'll get right on that." And I started acting like I was doing stuff. And I started turning the turntable on its side. And then I grabbed the mixer and I picked it up and pulled all the cords out. And I go, "It's coming next. It's coming next." And then I cleared the whole table off. The table was completely cleared off. And she came back up again. And I said, and I pointed at the table, and I go, right after this song right here, I'm going to go to this side, and I'll play that Nelly for you. And she looked down and looked up and said, "Okay, thanks." I mean, dude, that's how clueless people are. I don't know if it's the drugs they're on in the bar or how drunk they are, but it just blows my mind some of the things that people have thrown at me, and I'm like, do you not see I'm not even playing anymore?
Do you know how to feed yourself?
Yeah. I mean, like,
where's your staff?
What in the... Unbelievable. But yeah, it was so funny. Platinum told me that story. That's who it was. The girl, like, "You mean to tell me that the music I'm hearing is coming from that?" He's like, "Yeah, that's a record. The needle's on the record." Yeah. Oh, well, okay.
Yeah. That's an awfully big CD you have there.
Actually, no. It's coming from the toilet inside the women's bathroom.
Yeah.
And it's all wired through the back of there. But if you'll go and flush that stool, it will change the song
your
out.
Your Nelly song will come on next.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable.
Art to the beat.
How much people are just clueless to the technical side of it, or just the fact that what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And you know what it is, too? Not many DJs do this. We are a minority. The people, what I do, it's a minority. So you don't see it. Yeah. And then when you do see it, it's like, okay, you get it or you don't. But it's amazing how people just really don't. And even the people that think they get it, that come out, and I appreciate those people, they still really don't get it. Yeah, they think you're just playing music, and it's like, no, I'm combining sounds and doing it with records.
There's a lot of them now that have it running through the computer where they actually have a turntable that they're.
Yeah, that's Serato, and I love that program. The only problem is it's a double-edged sword, and that was Serato. Basically, if you can imagine your turntables it comes with 2 control records that are digital that read the files in your computer. So now you don't have to have vinyl. You just have to have those 2 records, and just have to remember to set the needle back to the beginning and choose another song and choose whether you want it on the left or right hand side of left or right turntable. Yeah. And that's the problem. There is that totally killed. That made it where anybody and everybody could DJ. All you needed was $500 and a laptop computer. Yeah. And then had to find somebody that had all these songs that they would give you, which was very easy. Mm-hmm. Everybody started sharing their files like an idiot. So now everybody's a DJ. Everybody has these files, and they didn't have to buy the records anymore. Right. I remember there's a girl in Studio 54 in Vegas. I watched it all come down, man, in Vegas. When I was out there, that's when I noticed it all coming down to that. And that's when people were catching on to Serato. They were catching on to the whole DJ. Everybody wanted to be a DJ. And I remember this girl was a bartender there. And her first time ever on the turntables, the GM there let her get on in the club of Studio 54 and play because she had purchased Serato for $500 and had enough files in her computer to play, and got up there and sounded like complete shit. And yet they still let her play on nights. Mm-hmm. And she was having all kinds of issues with the volumes weren't up. The volume would cut out because she'd forget to turn her mids and highs and lows back up. Yeah. And the sound guy would have to come down and turn them up for her. And there'd be dead air. And we're talking about dead air inside Studio 54 in Las Vegas.
Man. People are like, the cops come in? What's going on?
Yeah. And I shook my head and I scratched my head. I go, you guys hired me. Mm. And the music director was livid over it. But the GM is his boss too. So the GM, she kissed his ass and got this, or who knows what else. But, got this job DJing when she had no business DJing. And killing the floor at the club, and the music director was livid over it. Then she asked for a raise. They gave her a raise. He got so mad he broke one of the turntables. He smashed the head shell on it, and it's like it was frustrating. And that was just the beginning of all these people that decided to be a quote unquote DJ, and had the software to do it. It didn't matter how good they were. It didn't matter how well they transitioned or programmed the floor, as long as they had the hottest music. Mm-hmm. Well, anybody can get in a club and play the hottest music. It's like the DJs you hear on the radio. Yeah. Anybody can get on the Beat or 96.5 and do a mix show and play just back-to-back hits. Yeah. Anybody. Yeah. If you can blend, and anybody can learn how to blend beats. They can. It's a matter how you do it, what you do it with, and knowing when to drop that stuff. And it's just, otherwise you're boring. Your mix is boring. And anyway, I'm starting to rant.
This thing is awesome, though.
We can rant about radio. We can rant about DJing.
And you don't just sit there. You don't sit there for one because you're spinning around and doing all this stuff like intricately. Yeah. But you work the crowd too, and you talk to people. Unlike a lot of DJs who literally sit there and they just look grumpy the whole time.
Yeah. Well, it's a show, and that's the difference. You're either a jukebox or you're putting on a show. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like the era that I came from, and when we started doing this, was we were a one-man band. It's like we were up there.
Oh yeah, you were one of the
and it's
break dancers. You were out there spinning. And
just trying to put on a show. Whether it came out, like you said, whether I was dancing in front of the tables or behind the turntables DJing, it's just getting the party going. See, like people right there, they're throwing their hands up, they're clapping. The beautiful thing about that is that's in Springfield, Missouri. Yeah, mm-hmm. That's not easy to do in Springfield, Missouri. It really isn't. And
it was only a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, So, much love to those people that support what I do in my hometown. Yeah. It's not easy. And Springfield's my home, and I love Springfield.
But you spent a lot of time out there in Vegas and in Portland too, right?
Yeah, Portland is my shit, man. Yeah, I love Portland. Portland's my favorite city. I mean, besides Springfield. I mean, I mean, as far as culture and music and people that just really show you love and people that are down to earth, and there's not as much hating going on, it's Portland, Oregon. Yeah. That area is just an awesome town with awesome people. And I'm not saying that Springfield's not got awesome people, but you know what I'm saying. The culture.
It's a different.
It's just a good atmosphere.
It's the culture. It's the culture that we lack here.
When we went out there to Washington, and was out there, it was just amazing. It's beautiful. I mean, not that it's not beautiful here, but it's different. Yeah. And so when you're used to this around here, and you go out there, and you're like, hey, I mean, because You go to Texas, it's okay, but I know if you go up northeast, people just aren't as nice.
Yeah.
You know, and it seems a little weird, you know. But you go out there and everybody, it's like, hey, you know, they embrace you and you embrace them, and
and that's what's actually really cool is places up there in the Northwest are really weird. I mean, Portland's a weird place, man, but it's so weird. It's cool, and everybody's laid back. It's like nobody gives a fuck. It's like, oh, yeah, you've got hair that's purple, and it's shaved, and it's 10 feet high, and you're wearing a tattoo. Nobody cares. Tattoos on your face.
You're just like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah, everybody's pretty cool and laid
There's
back.
little micro brews all over the place.
Yeah, but it's a music cultured place, too. They love music.
Love all kinds of music.
I had so much fun living there. I was there for 2 years. That's when I toured with 311. Back in 2003, and then I came back to Springfield, if you'll remember. I think you were on the air somewhere at the time, and then they played Shrine Mosque, and I opened for them. That was my last show with them, and then I moved.
And what's that like? You know, because when I mixed and stuff, you know, I did it with the band with OEO, and that was the thing with me was, you know, I had this big ladder thing I stood on with the Gene Simmons boots and would rock back and forth with a fog machine between my legs and just OEO. And play these, you know, Wizard of Oz records, and I had the Star Trek one that you had, you know, the scratches.
Oh yeah,
Spock,
scratches. The scratches.
Yeah.
What do you mean the scratches? Scratches? Scratch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just did like bandy things, you know. I just do intros to songs or outros, you know, and so I was just kind of like and now people do that with a sampler. You know, it was when I started doing it. You know, I actually would bring 2 turntables and a stack of records and
a microphone
and get all dressed up. And then the next thing I know, there's a band that's they've got a DJ too. Like and it's a guy with a sampler just pressing a button, beep beep, beep. And then I'm like, and then he'd make it a little faster, make it a little slower. I'm like, wow, at least I had equipment. You know, I had to haul stuff in. Yeah, it's good to have a good show, you know.
Mm-hmm. It is.
I always like to have a good show and a lot of audience interaction. So there's this thing that I want to do on stage, and I've been waiting for the perfect time. This is going to sound.
Are you going to do a Gigi Allen?
No, this is.
That'll get everybody's attention. I promise you.
Yes.
I don't know if they'll stay for the whole.
Yeah.
You're going to hell.
No, I was. I want to do this thing called. What is it? Who wants to get their weenie wet? The wet weenie contest.
Okay, I was close.
And basically what you do is you say, hey, I need a female from the audience. And then the female comes up on stage. And then you yell out, who wants to get their weenie wet? You know, and all these guys, if you need to, you can have plants or whatever. But, you know, they're like, yeah, I do. And then you bring him up on stage. And the girl's thinking, like, what the hell is going on? Why did I agree to come on the stage? And then 2 buckets and some hot dogs come out, and you have a contest with buckets of water to see who could get the hot dog in the water. And then they win a T-shirt.
Okay, so what we're going to do...
It wasn't that interesting.
Okay, say hi to the purple syrup versus non-purple syrup. And the reason I'm doing this...
What happened to the music?
What happened to the music? I don't know. Somebody wasn't paying attention to it.
Which in reality isn't what I do.
You should... That's the one you already played. There's another one.
Stock bass out of the song.
What are we talking about? What is this? Some kind of a... Oh, this is about speakers.
It's more aggressive and it's more like demo style music.
You know a lot about speakers?
No.
Me neither.
I know some guys that...
How many turntables do you have now?
Man, right now, me personally, I've got 2, 4, 6. I think I only have 6 right now, but I had like 14.
Yeah, you were like trying to corner the market on the...
Yeah, because I was doing the DJ school for a short period of time, then I had my hip replaced. So I decided to...
Yeah.
Plus, I did it for... I had like 20 students. It was great. I was doing it. I liked it. But it was taking away from me doing things I needed to be doing. And I realized it wasn't what I wanted to do. So I decided to get out of it before I got in too deep with it. So it wasn't anything bad, at all. I think it was a smart and fun move to do. It just wasn't something that I personally wanted to stick around and do yet. If I ever do that again, that means I completely am totally done with DJing.
Really?
You know what I mean? Yeah.
It just took so much out of your time.
It's like
you're now the sensei.
Yeah. I'm still working on music. I'm still getting into producing and all that. And all that time that I need to do that would have been all going into the DJ school. So, I don't know. Couldn't do it anymore.
I like this. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, that's what you're hearing right there is With or Without You, U2, over a group called the Blackbirds, and the song is called Rock Creek Park.
Yeah.
You can hear that high-pitched noise and stuff. That's a b-boy break. B-boy, when I say b-boy, it's like a break dancing, which is not the proper term. B-boy, B-girl is the proper term for breaking, or breaking, but people call it break dancing because that's the term that it got whenever it was commercialized in the 80s. But
that's the colloquialism or whatever.
But that's an old funk record, and I just came up with that mix and was able to do it live. You know, I found an instrumental of the Blackbirds Rock Creek Park, and it just sounds really good with the... I just heard it one day, and I tried it, and it was perfect.
That's usually the way it happens.
So where do you get most of your inspiration from? Do you just sit around with like different records and like just mash things that you...
Yeah, I just hear things, and I'll try it, and I'll play around with it, and... sometimes it won't work, and then sometimes it will. I mean, you just and it just hours of playing with vinyl and mixing up stuff. But I'll be honest with you, like I don't really do it like I used to anymore. I don't sit around and do that anymore. I just have my classic mixes that I do. I'm more into finding rare records, bringing home, sampling them, trying to come up with like production side of things, making stuff from scratch. One, they don't make vinyl anymore that that is made for the style of mixing that I am known for, like acapellas, instrumentals. Music's just changed in a big way. I mean, it's like the electronic stuff that's out now, I'm not a big fan of. I became a DJ because I felt the music. I became a good DJ because I felt what I was doing. Yeah. And it's nothing against the stuff that's out now. I just, as a guy that's my age at this point, the new stuff doesn't move me like the old stuff did. There's still some great records out there. I'm more into indie rock stuff now. Hip hop stuff. As far as new rap music, I don't even care. I'm not into it. I haven't heard anything. It's
devolved into a puddle of slime.
Yeah, I'm not feeling. I liked it when they were sampling groups like this, James Brown, or just something that's funky, just moved me, made me want to dance. Dubstep was cool for a minute, and then I got tired of that.
There's only so many times you can hear the same drop.
Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, Well, and a lot of the new house stuff that's out now, it has all these crazy builds.
Yeah.
But when it gets to the build, like, then all of a sudden it goes. It doesn't take off like a lot of the older house stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't do that. It builds up, and you think it's going to go somewhere, and then all of a sudden it just shits on itself.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, you built that energy up, and then it didn't go anywhere. Kids today love it, but they don't know any better. They didn't hear it. They weren't there. And who am I, though? I'm 42 years old, and I've been listening to EDM, quote unquote, electronic dance music since the 70s. I was born in the 70s, but I'm saying I listened to electronic music that was starting to be made in the 70s, 80s. So EDM, that's what it stands for, right? Electronic dance music. Well, electronic dance music's been out for years.
Yeah, like
there's nothing new about it.
Disco's electronic dance music.
Yeah, it's like whoever came up with that name for a new generation of stuff that's been around for years. I don't know, but yeah, when I think of EDM, I think of like Egyptian Lover or Nucleus and all these 80s guys back in the day that were using the 808 drum machine and doing electro. Kraftwerk would be EDM. But the new stuff that's out now that's popular, as a DJ, I'm not feeling it. I just don't think there's any energy in it. And if other people out there are going to say I'm crazy, or younger people, that's fine. They're younger, or they don't agree with me. That's fine. It's my opinion. But as a DJ or somebody who's been into music for years, that stuff just doesn't have the balls that songs did. Just like the radio. I don't. This rap stuff, it's garbage. They are saying nothing. Young Thug, that is garbage. That ain't even hip hop.
It's like you were talking about earlier about the turntables and how, now any idiot with $500 on a laptop can go out and be a DJ now.
Yeah.
It's the same things with being like a music producer. Every once in a while you'll get somebody who's terrible, but they know what they're doing with sound. And then you have a really good sounding song that is a piece of shit. And those are, for some reason, the people who get the money, I think it's because they're not influential in any important way. Because I think that with media, the way that it is, if you had like the rock of the 70s and 80s, how they were like, anti-establishment and all that stuff, if that happened now, it would like cause actual changes to happen, I think. So they've kind of dumbed down the radio a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
That was a mouthful, I'm sorry. But
No,
industry.
Dude, you're right. I mean, think about this, like nightclubs now, they're dead. Nightclubs are dead. Bars are the thing now, just like a regular walk-in bar. Scotch and soda, places like the Outland Ballroom. But a dance club where it's dance music, dance lights, they're dead. I mean, yeah, there might be a bunch of kids in there, but they're holding up the wall. Their music's not danceable. I mean, it's just the energy's not in the club. People are going to the liquor store. They're going home. They're watching porn. They are getting drunk at home.
Or they're going up to loft parties where there is good music.
Yeah,
not necessarily though. But yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of like music and that whole, just the whole club scene. Like people, I remember when people went to the club to dance. They went to hear the DJ. I got videos of that on VHS when the Regency, which is now Club Instinct, was packed. And the sound system in there would pull your head off because it was about the music.
And there were people upstairs and downstairs and all over.
And at the end of the night, the place was disgusting. The walls were sweating. People were drenched. They were leaving the club like they left the gym. Yeah. And it's not like that anymore. Now it's a fashion show. We're there to show off our stilettos, and we're there to show off our hairdos and our nails and be seen and talk on our and text on our phones.
And grind on people.
Yeah.
It's just not what it was. It's just, and I mean, I'm old now.
What was your favorite venue that you've ever played? Your favorite show that you've played?
As far as nightclubs or just a show in general?
Ever. Yeah, anything.
I have to say, I really, really, really enjoyed playing out in Portland. Once again, there was a place called the Ohm that I played. There was a place in Seattle called the Last Supper Club that was great. I opened for DJ Shadow at the Showbox in Seattle. That was an awesome show. It was packed, and people were just freaking out watching me. They understood it. They were getting it. They were like, wow, he's blending the Eurythmics live over this beat, and we're freaking out. So those were great shows. Opening for 311 probably was one of the top ones. It was the House of Blues in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Oh yeah,
and I've got that all on video, and it was just, the crowd was just packed, and I was just killing it.
Is the video online?
It is, but it's really bad quality. Whoever uploaded that, I need to redo it. But I have it if you'd like to.
Yeah, I want to see it.
I need to, cool. But re-edit it. But did that 2 sold out shows in LA and San Francisco when I did my album Uneasy Listening with the other artists that I did that with. That was a great show. As far as the energy and the fans being there and seeing us perform that album live. That was awesome. So yeah, and then just touring, man. I'm being from Springfield. I thought, I didn't think I was going to go anywhere with this. I thought, I was going to always work a 9 to 5 or whatever, and I loved music and it was my passion. But I've been very blessed with this. I mean, it's just when I look at my career and what it's done, like it could end right now, which it pretty much has. If you want to know the truth, I'm not even playing out as much as I used to. It's just, I still play out.
Yeah, you have some shows coming up, right?
I do, yeah. I've got a show coming up in Tulsa, Oklahoma on the 16th of July. And I've got
the Hard Rock or whatever it is?
No, it's actually in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. There's a club out there that they booked me. So I'm still going out and doing stuff. It's just, when I say my career is over, I mean, I guess the shine when I was really doing it in the early 2000s, late 90s, 2000s. Because when the mashup, quote unquote, came out, and it was all a big deal. I don't work as much as I did. The last big thing I did was the Master of the Mix in 2011, 2012, which was the reality TV show that I won. And that pretty much set me up to where I could just chill for a while and just do what I want to do and spend time in the house on production and hang out with you guys and do this. And
we'll get you involved in some of the films too.
Yeah, and I used to take acting classes here in town with Scott Arthur Allen's Actors Workshop. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but he's really good at teaching that. And I actually miss doing that. It'd be fun to get back into that. But yeah, the movie thing, I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Freshen myself up. But yeah, I'm at this point. I'll be honest. For me to go into a club and play like the top 40 stuff, and really, I'm not. I enjoyed that in the 90s. You know, that was when I was young and the music was good and I was pumping. And it was about vinyl. DJs were a minority, so I was making $1,000 a night at the juke joint.
Wow,
or more, and that was whenever it was. It was the juke joint, and this is back when we did a night called called Funkopolis, and it was all 80s, 70s, and 80s. And this was right after the movie Boogie Nights came out, so it was a big deal. That era was back, and college kids piled in. It was a grunge crowd. It was back in those era, and they paid me $1 a head. So if there was 1,200 kids that night, they gave me $1,200. And that was on a Thursday night.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You don't get
Thursday night.
That's unheard of now. That's unheard of. There's too many DJs, quote unquote, with the computer, with their virtual DJ or whatever it is, their laptops, and they're paying those guys maybe $100 a night, maybe if you're lucky. So it's like back then.
But you still have to pack them in, though. You know, if you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And back then, you had to have the records, you had to have the turntables. There was no in between. There was no CD mixers.
And that's more equipment than a drummer sometimes. You know, when you're carrying all those records and the turntables.
But those days are over.
I got winded carrying that one case of records in here. I couldn't imagine carrying all that.
So, and I've done that for years, but now with technology. And just like everything, it's not just DJing. It's like so many things have been dented and hurt because of computer technology to where people don't make the money that they used to. And DJing is a big one because everybody's a DJ now. Look at Paris Hilton.
Yeah, she's a DJ.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
I watched some of her videos just to see what it was all about.
Really?
Pushing buttons and
pushing
buttons.
Hands up. Yeah, that's pretty much
sounding really bad on the microphone while it feeds back.
Yeah.
And you know what she got paid in Ibiza? I think it was Ibiza. She went over there and got $1.4 million to play 4 shows.
In Ibiza?
Yeah.
That's like DJ heaven. Who wouldn't want to go there?
There you go. But it's Paris Hilton. It's just like Pauly D from Jersey Shore.
He's a DJ now too, right?
Yeah. Dude, everybody's a DJ. Tommy Lee from Motley Crue.
Right.
I remember when they took me off the turntables to put Macy Gray on one night at the Palms in Las Vegas. Yeah, and they panicked in about 10 minutes. Actually, you were panicking even before that because she didn't know what the equipment did. Whoa. She didn't know what the crossfader did. She didn't know but she didn't touch my equipment. She had to play on the other guys. Yeah. I said, she ain't touching my records. Of course, then she had to play off Serato, which was the computer program, and she still didn't know what she was doing. But because it was Macy Gray,
she got to do it.
They hired her to come in and paid her $15,000 to get up on a... It'd be like, you know what? It would be like paying me to show up down at Outland Ballroom and do a guitar solo. You know what? That'd be yeah.
It's like you're a guitar player. Come down here. Yeah. DJP is going to go up there and play the guitar.
I don't know how to play guitar. I've never.
It's okay. You're DJP. You're master of the mix. Get up there and play that lead guitar solo.
Well, and I've got a picture of it. I've got video of it too, and it's amazing. It's coming out on a documentary actually because there's a documentary being done right now by DJ Zimmy out of Pittsburgh about DJing and where it was and where it is now. And it's getting ready to come out. It's getting ready to come out. It talks about guys like myself or other people who've made their living doing this that view this and take this seriously. It's a culture. It's not just a job. We live and breathe this. We love it, and how it's just been completely destroyed.
Bastardized.
We're just destroyed, and guys can't even make money anymore because all the little turds with their computers or whatnot have come in and said, "Yeah, well, we'll DJ $50, $100." And now, if you think about it, most clubs at this point are the management is in their 20s. And what do they know about classic DJs? Yeah. As long as the DJ's got the new stuff. So it's like, it's all about having something else to fall back on, you know. Luckily, I've got that, but it just sucks because I'm not able to get the bookings that I used to.
Well, it's the same with radio, you know. I mean, people ask me all the time, you know, don't you think you want to go back to the radio? Would you go? And I was like, no.
Not in this town.
They're never going to let you play what you want to. They're never going to let you have the kind of show you want or this kind of show people want because, like you said, it's all corporate and it just got so, this is what you play and you don't say anything bad about this. And, you know, and praise Nickelback. You know,
Jesus, one of the worst bands ever.
I can't do that.
See Nickelback on tour with Hinder and
see Nickelback with Creed. With arms rolled over. Yeah, radio stations in Springfield actually piss me off. I'll just be real with you on that. I'll tell you why too, and I'll break it down because I'm going to be as real about this as they've wasted my time and they've wasted their time. And you know, when you get a call from Power 96.5 to come in and they're going to talk to you about DJing and they want you to be on the air and they want you to play, and then you talk about, you know, pay. That's when their asshole tightens up as tight as a snare drum. Mm-hmm. They've got a whole staff of people there that they pay that are paying their mortgages and everything, buying, you know, putting gas in their car to get to work or whatever, paying their car insurance. Mm-hmm. But they can't pay a professional DJ for 1 hour of work a week $100 to actually rock a mix, or even $10 a day.
Yeah.
I can tell them that I will do it for free and they won't do it. And it's not just Power, but the Beat just recently had me come in to do a mix show because they weren't happy with the person who was there before. And yet it's a problem when money is mentioned. It's like $50. I told them, they said, well, would you do this show for $50? Finally, I said, you know what? I need $100 to do this 1 hour show on Saturdays. They wanted me to do an old school.
That's a lot of work. I mean, you do it live. It's not like you're sitting there pushing a button like they do.
They wanted me to do, I think it was a mix show with McLean. Mm-hmm. We were going to do like an hour, or I think it was only 30 minutes now that I think about it. They wanted me to do a 30-minute old school mix, and I think it was either in the morning or like lunch or whenever it was. Mm-hmm. But they call me in there, and yet they don't even text me back. The music director didn't text me back. They won't call me back. They won't say fuck you.
Yeah.
If you would do that, that would be great. Just tell me fuck you.
Yeah.
But
either way.
Don't call me in there and waste an hour and a half to 2 hours of my time, and then tell me you're going to call me and then you never do. And then when I text you or I call and try to get a hold of you, you know, you can't even get back to me.
Incommunicado.
But at the same time, who am I? If you call this narcissistic or whatever, I'm just DJP, who just, you know, one of the top DJs in the United States, and I can't even get a gig on the radio, even when I tell them I'll do it for free in Springfield, Missouri. It just goes to show you, and here's where it goes. It goes to show you that the culture in this town and music, it's not important. It really isn't. If it was important, they would be wanting to do better. Mm-hmm. Lou Whitney told me this. You know Lou Whitney.
God rest his soul.
God rest his soul.
Yeah.
Lou Whitney looked at me one day and he goes, Danny, you know what the motto is for Springfield? And I said, no, Lou. And he says, it's just good enough.
Yeah.
That's what he said. It's just good enough. And it doesn't have to be just good enough. Why can't we be better?
Yeah.
That's what I want. You know, I want everything to be better. I
strive for it.
And like I said, call this narcissistic, what I say, whatever. You give me the keys to a radio station and I'll play your new music. I'll play all the classics. But you know what? I'm going to make it just like our pirate radio station was. People aren't going to listen to your station. They're going to listen to this station. Why? There's a DJ on that station. And when I say DJ, I mean someone who loves, lives, and breathes all styles and different styles of music, that knows how to program that music and could make your station so much better.
Yeah,
the programming would be better and everything.
Better than any consultant from LA.
Because what do they know?
Come out to tell you to play, you know, the next.
Yeah, corporate people don't know
song.
shit.
Yeah.
There's an art in music. There's an art in how you play it, how you hear it, how you put it together. If I was going to play Nickelback on the radio station, or excuse me, let's say I played like 2 R&B songs on an R&B station, but I want to compete with the other stations, so I throw in Nickelback after that. Look what happened. I just lost the crowd I have, and everybody's in a pissing contest, it seems like, with radio. Right. If a song comes out but it doesn't fit their format, they're going to play it anyway because they know that it's a hot song. They need to stick to format. Now, a good DJ, though, would know how to throw that in and get out of it to where everybody went, oh, cool.
I get why they did that.
Yeah. You know, but Springfield doesn't get that. The radio stations here don't get that.
Well, the radio stations here are owned by people not here. They're run by people who are not here. That's what else
I was going to tell you. And I'm not blaming the people that work there.
No,
but
they're just doing their jobs.
But the people that work there need to understand. I've had this happen. People will come into town that get hired to here in Springfield, and they think that they can automatically take over the station and do all this stuff. So they'll call a guy like, oh, well, we've heard about you. I heard about you, and they said you're really good. Can we meet up for lunch? Sure, and I'll meet them up for lunch, and they tell me all these things they're going to do. We're going to make the mix show on 96.5 on the lunch hour a mix show now. It's not going to be like just the same top 40 old school songs that you hear all the time. We want you to do that, but we want you to mix it. And I'm excited, and I'm like, yeah, great. But what I'm failing to realize is they don't realize they're not going to let them do that. And that's what happens in Springfield. People are coming here from bigger cities, and then whoever's in charge is telling them, after they've wasted my time, no, you can't do that, and we're not going to do that, and no, we're not going to pay him $50 a show when it takes me hours and hours to put these shows together, and I'm doing it so cheap just because I love music and I just want to be heard on the radio.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. I even got to the point, like I said, where I said, you know what, I'll do it for free. I'll do it for free. Just when I actually was doing my DJ school, I said, all I ask is you let me market my DJ school.
Yeah, let's promote it.
Well,
It'll be a trade.
okay, we'll get right on it. And then they never call you back. Then they never say, hey, P, we're ready to do this, because they realize that they're getting told by their corporate boss, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to pay anybody. And it's like bigger cities, it would be happening.
Yeah.
I mean, and it happens in big cities. They have a mix show that's important. People are getting their cars at 5 o'clock after a hard days of work, and they're pumped up. They're driving home, and they're hearing a good dance mix.
Yeah.
Not something that's just thrown together, and every other song is the same top 40 shit. You'll hear an old song, you'll hear a new song, then you'll hear something that's like what we used to throw a throwback, like an oh shit is what we used to call it. You know, you're driving along and you hear that new Britney Spears song with Izzy, and then all of a sudden it goes into Dr. Dre, and you're like, oh wow, man,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it goes to a new song again, and then but it's the way that you format and do that, and the radio stations don't get that here. It's not. It just doesn't seem like the radio here is it's not important for them to be better than the other station, or to even be better at anything, or their ratings.
No, it's just good enough.
Power 96.5 told me that their ratings went up when they put me on back when I was on Master of the Mix. They called me up. Do you want to be on the air? Sure. Just let me mention both of me on Master of the Mix. Ratings went up, and then once I won Master of the Mix, I said, "You guys want me to continue to do this? Well, now if we can't pay you, well then why would I stay here? I just made $250,000 anyway.
Yeah.
But I do love to DJ, but." At that point, I was just, I'd already said I would do it for free, but why would I keep doing it for free? And better than, they can't even pay me $50.
Yeah,
not
well,
even
especially
$10.
when you made the ratings
How
go
about $1?
It's like spitting on your neck.
Yeah, I'm just like, so I had to rant about that, but that's some recent shit. You know, it's like either you want somebody that knows what they're doing on your radio station, and you're already paying a full staff of people. They got a bunch of people that work at the beat but that's their job. Why can't you pay a professional DJ that lives right there in your town, who's,
who actually has a skill?
That has a skill, and you can't even pay them or let them do it for free?
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
I mean, I know,
and I wouldn't be bitching if they weren't calling me and wasting my time.
Yeah.
They're calling me to meet with them for these lunches and come in and talk about all the great things they're going to do.
And then they're like, oh wait, hold on,
like,
I
you ain't
totally
gonna do
forgot.
nothing.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know, like Dr. Bob, when he used to do the show.
Yeah, he did that blues show for
forever.
How
But
long?
He would
years.
Decades. But he would like buy a slot.
Yeah.
And so he had to have advertising pay for that. They'd say, okay, you can do an hour and a half show. You got to bring in this much revenue. And I know that sometimes it worked out to where you could sell more. So then you'd make a little profit on it. But for the most part, it would be, you'd have people coming in and out, I've got this guy to do. You almost have to have a manager or someone like that, a salesperson that's working that for you, which is what the radio stations do. They have, when I was in there, you were always supposed to try to, I had a specialty show. I had a special feature that I would do during the drive time or something. And it started where, salespeople were supposed to sell you. When I first started doing it, we did parental advisory. It was a 2-hour show, and we would stick it to do the first half hour, and the skate park did the second half hour, and a tattoo parlor did this hour, and then Centerfolds did that half hour, and so we had it going like that. Well, then it started getting to where the salespeople wanted you to tell them how to sell it. You find some people. Well, then of course they're making the commission on it.
Yeah, it's like, why am I doing your work for you?
I'm like, listen to the music and get an idea what it is, and then go to those people. Oh, no, those people. We're not going to the tattoo parlor, But now Scotty, I know Scotty's a salesperson over there now, and he's hitting all those places. He does a good job at it.
Yeah, he got out of the bar scene. That's good for him.
Yeah.
I'm
I
telling
miss
you.
hearing his voice on the radio all the time.
Hey, it's Scotty.
Drink him up and head for the door.
We're closed. I saw. You remember whenever the Cardinals won the World Series a while back, a few years ago, and the High Life was still there.
Yeah.
And I was there for a cake show. It was a cake tribute show called Fake. It was pretty badass, actually. And then the game was going on in the other room, and Scotty gets on the something or other and talks to everybody. The Cardinals have won the World Series. You can have one shot of anything you want. I was like, that is awesome. So he bought everybody a shot.
Yeah, that's cool. He's a big St. Louis Blues fan, too.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we got a pretty good show going here.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, I
appreciate you
think,
coming over, Dan.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me in here. I haven't done this in a while. It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome back anytime you want to come out.
I'd love to do it. We should build on what we've talked about. Maybe try to figure out a legal way to do a station that we can
do a little internet. Anybody out there that's got any ideas, just tell
I was
us what
hoping
you've been
that
looking for.
low power was going to go up instead of go in a backwards direction because they only wanted like $500 a year for a 1 hour show.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Which is ridiculously
Great,
cheap.
yeah.
I mean,
for a whole
like,
year. Yeah,
for a whole
so see,
year.
like I was saying, you could easily
get some people and hey, you're on the show, sponsored.
make
whatever.
some shirts.
It's like you said, it only stretches 10 miles.
Yeah, like 10 miles. It also streams online though.
I think we can figure out.
So that always, yeah, we can figure that.
We'll figure out a pirate way to
yeah, just
put a
a
tower over here.
transmitter,
We'll put a tower and put it on top of that old lady's house over there. She doesn't know what it is.
She won't know anything.
yeah, right. That's for my ham radio.
Climb
I'll
up
talk
in
to
the
my
tree,
grandkids.
yeah.
I can easily get some MediaCom
I've wondered.
shirts.
yeah, right. Climb the pole.
Climb the pole.
MediaCom.
I've got a City Utilities helmet and a uniform.
A MediaCom shirt, City Utilities hat, some River Flage on for some reason.
Yeah, we're gonna talk with Seed next week. They're getting ready to go on their tour. We're gonna get a hold of Ann Allington from Apnea, and they'll be playing with Curmudgeon. That show, I think it's the 20th.
Women of Metal.
Ladies of Metal.
Ladies of Metal.
Ladies of Metal. And that band is coming up from Arizona, Phoenix. I think I forget what they're called.
I think so.
Yeah, we'll try to get hold of them. And
I was going to have some upcoming shows, but I couldn't find anything on the immediate internet.
Right.
But there's a few. Okay, here I'll get to a few I got on Facebook. Damn it.
I'm going to get
Page
I'm
reloading.
going to get back with Little King Clarence, and we'll try to get him over one night.
That'd be great.
And talk. And
Maybe we'll barbecue that night.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah.
Maybe we could do some live stuff. We'll do the show from outside or something.
Yeah, we can
on the
sit
deck.
there. You could hear the crickets in the background.
Yeah. So tomorrow you can catch Barrack Hill Monday evenings at Springfield Brewing Company. Also Drunk Punk Monday at the Frisco Tap Room. My God, the free BJ edition. I don't know what that is. I wouldn't go. I wouldn't get a free BJ from the Frisco Tap Room, but I would go to that show if I like punk music.
Yep.
Which I do. Tuesday. Something I don't know. That was Happy Hour Lives on Wednesday. Firecracker Carnival at Sprout House Thursday at 6 p.m. It's at 1919 East Monroe. That sounds like somebody's address.
Yeah.
So
Sprout House.
Wizard Solstice EP release with Pleasures is coming up Thursday at the Front of House Lounge. You can catch Chris and the guys in that band. Also, Friday, July 3rd, a $5 Gigaroni to benefit the Harmony House at the Outland Bar. That's Friday at 7. Also, the 4th annual 3rd of July Songwriter Night is at Lindbergh's at Friday at 7 p.m. Also, you can catch Islander with Subject to Lost, Far From It, and Cold Dead something that got cut off. Sorry, at the Outland Ballroom. But that's what's coming up this week. If you have any questions or if you have anything that you think that we should include on the show, send us an email to IndieMO@email.com. That's INDIEMO at email.com, email.com. You can also go to IndieMoRecords.com and get information. Find us on YouTube. And also Facebook. You can look us up at the IndieMO Radio Show on Facebook and like the page, share it for us so we can get our show out to more people.
I did some Facebooking this week, I think.
You did Facebook. I was so excited. It said, Edward E. Man. It basically said that you were on Facebook and that you accepted my friend request. And I was like, oh no, E-Man's dead. Somebody has his phone. They're trying to post and say it's him, but yeah, it was amazing. It was exciting, and I saw you did a little bit of stuff on there.
Yeah, I didn't get too crazy. I mean, that's my problem. It's one of those things. The only time I really have time or I want to do it is just like, like tonight when I get home and get drunk. And,
yeah.
And I'm going,
then you're drunk emailing everybody.
This is what's going on. Yes.
Damn you, Claire McCaskill. All right. Well, I guess that's it for the show.
We don't have time for cat talk, so Meowcada,
we're coming
for you, Meowcada.
You guys, thanks for having me in.
Thank you for coming on the show, Danny. Anytime that you have some free time available on a Sunday, you are welcome in my house.
Well, thank you.
I mean, in the studio, which is not in my house, miles below the earth, in a bunker.
In a bunker.
It's all good.
With nice shades.
I might have to store some records over here.
Oh, okay.
I've got too many at the house. Never know.
It is a hyperbolic chamber down here.
Yeah, a hyperbaric chamber. Hyperbolic is like a shape, I think.
Okay.
Or if you're like, it's a hyperbolic, whatever you said, but like you were exaggerating a little bit, hyperbole. Oh, crap. We get on tangents a lot. Yes. That's why we work well together, I think, is because we're always on a tangent sometimes.
Screw it back into the right place.
All right. Well, I'll leave you with some music from DJP for the 19th time, man, and I'll say it a lot more. Thank you for coming on the show, and once I post this, I will tag you in it or something. Do you do Facebook?
I do.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll find you.
I do.
Add you.
Can find
tag
me.
you.
Yeah. Easy to do.
So
bag it, tag it.
Yep.
All right. You keep plugging in, and we'll keep plugging on and plugging you. Yep. Thanks for listening to the IndieMO Radio Show.